We got breaking news hot off the press, baby. You know I like it hot. The S&P, they just launched the first ever crypto index. And guess what? Bitcoin and XRP, they're not in it. Pretty interesting developments, but their CEO, Kathy Clay, says that Bitcoin was excluded because it's really not one of those revenue generating protocols. That's the same reason they excluded XRP. But what did we just talk about on my other YouTube channel, the Bullwinkle Blueprint? Go get on up over there. 65 and 66. You want to talk about generating revenue? Those are the two amendments that are about to get voted on that will help generate revenue. Now, I tried to find the 18 tokens that are going to be included in this. Wasn't able to find all 18. They haven't announced them all yet, but what we do know, it's Ethereum, Binance Coin, Solana, love that. Where are my Solana holders at? TRX, Hyperliquid, and then Avave or Avave. Interesting choice if you ask me. Let's listen to this segment and then let's jump over to the Yahoo Finance article. This is very interesting, but this is a very bullish sign, especially in the direction that these markets are headed.
There's 18 constituents total. The largest five are Ether, Binance Coin, Solana, Tron, and Hyperliquid. So what are the requirements? How much turnover do you expect? And what do these choices represent?
Let me pause it real quick. Do you like whenever CNBC talks about XRP in a positive way, they call it Ripple? But when they talk about it from being excluded from something, all of a sudden they get the ticker right. It's XRP. Come on now. You can't make it up.
Yeah, so let's just admit that digital assets moves faster than equity assets, for example. But what we're trying to bring are the same sort of principles that we have in our equity indices into digital assets. So when you think about the seasoning period, the revenue generation, the listing requirement, the liquidity behind these different protocols for these tokens, these are the things that we think matter for serious investors and asset managers in the digital asset space. And so we think because there's this likeness between what we deliver in equity indices and into this new benchmark for digital assets, we think it'll make sense for the investing public.
But Bitcoin's not in here?
Bitcoin is not in there because it's really not one of those revenue generating protocols that we think belongs in this index and meets all of the criteria, which there are many, in order for inclusion in this index.
I mean, that's all right, right? Bitcoin's not in there, okay. But look, here's the important thing to take away. Did your assets die? Did Bitcoin die? Did XRP die because it wasn't in their first ever crypto index? No, of course not. Of course not. And here's the article from Yahoo Finance talking about it. It says the index holds 18. Its five largest are ETH, Binance, Solana, Tron, Hyperliquid. And it says the benchmark weights holdings by market capitalization and it rebalances itself quarterly. There you go. So bounces will shift around. If you're a holder of one of those assets, hey, that's awesome for you. Congratulations. Here's the problem. When your bags finally, your brain, it goes into panic mode. You either hold too long chasing the top, or you dump everything at once and you crush yourself on taxes. The fix is right here. Pre-built exit ladder. You decide now at every price target exactly what percentage you're actually gonna sell. $3, $5, $10, $20. Each level has a plan. So when the hits, you don't think, you just execute. Look, set the target. 5 is the low, 10's my high. I want a 20% moon bag. I'm never going to sell, and I want to be conservative. Hit save. It creates the exit plan for you. And along each one of those as they're hit, you automatically get an email alerting you that it's time to execute so you don't think anymore. Cryptofolio CFO, they build this ladder for you automatically. You get a free 7-day trial over at xrprightnow.com. The link's in the bio. That's what you want to see. Now, Smoke put this out, and this comes from Wisdom Tree, which is very interesting. Remember, Wisdom Tree has an XRP ETF, and watch where I go with this. It says XRP only needs to 20x from current levels to surpass Bitcoin's market capitalization. Now, that is if Bitcoin's market capitalization stays exactly the same. If it starts losing value, the market cap starts to decrease, so the multiplier in XRP would decrease as well. But it works the other way. If Bitcoin's price increases, XRP needs to increase as well. And this Smoke says institutions like Wisdom Tree acknowledging this possibility for XRP to surpass Bitcoin. And how does it work? Or how will it surpass Bitcoin? Not how it works, right? Mass adoption. I think that's pretty simple. Finalized regulations unlocked for your larger institutional investments. New integrations continues expanding XRP's real world utility, and then capital will rotate from Bitcoin into altcoins, specifically XRP. Now, we've seen it before in the past where XRP has surpassed Bitcoin. It didn't last long because the powers to be made sure it didn't last long. But the $1 million question is, will it happen again? I believe it will. I believe XRP will become that #1 asset. Then Brad Garlinghouse will go make his little rounds, and we'll hear about Chris Larson buying more Ferraris again and posting them on social media because that's the only thing Chris Larson knows how to post about. Or he partnered with some fresh water drinking company for some third world country. That's it. That's all the man talks about. I don't even know if he still works there, to be honest with you. He does. I'm just saying. And you wouldn't think he did. But here you go. The official article for Wisdom Tree. Why all this is pretty exciting. Well, Franklin Templeton and their clients, they just bought 5.66 million worth of XRP. I wonder what's going on behind the scenes and what Franklin Templeton and their advisors are telling their clients, right? Clearly, they're telling them something bullish. Clearly, they're telling them, hey, we got that XRP ETF. We're looking at the chart here. It's down a lot from its all-time high. This might be a good area for you to jump back in. And their clients, what did they do? They listened and they dropped almost $6 million. Which brings us to this. Your XRP whales have accumulated 2.8% more coins over 5 weeks as your price has rebounded, while your small retail wallets, they've been dumping. What does that tell you? Retail, they're sick of these market conditions. They are losing hope and faith in XRP, and they're selling their coins. Now, rather, if they're selling at a loss, who knows? I don't know what Joe Schmo bought XRP at. I don't know if he made money or if he lost money. I mean, if you're selling this thing right now, you're an idiot. I tried to think of a nicer word. I really did. I tried to think of a nice word, but you're an idiot. Look how far we have come. Look at all the institutional growth. The Clarity Act, which is probably your biggest institutional signal. I mean, it is days away from getting signed over, and you're selling before that catalyst, which gets us over to this because Ripple's Cassie Craddock, she highlights why custody infrastructure is step one for banks looking to enter crypto. First and foremost, banks need to get their custody offering right with a partner that has bank-grade infrastructure. I wonder who has bank-grade infrastructure and who has custody.
First and foremost, banks need to get their custody offering right. So they need to work with a partner that has bank-grade infrastructure because ultimately safeguarding of the assets is exceptionally important. But the use cases that we're seeing built on top of that custody layer are predominantly around stablecoins and cross-border payments, tokenization of money, but also financial instruments such as money market funds, and then just more broadly around moving value. So being able to use those stablecoins to move them cross-border has been exceptionally interesting.
I love everything she's saying, folks. It's all about custody, and that's why I point you over to iTrust Capital. Their premium custody, it's free. This is what BlackRock is using for holding their crypto assets because iTrust, remember, they don't hold your crypto. A lot of people think that, and they're thinking, what happens if there's no link to situation? No. iTrust gets you onto a Coinbase institutional or Fidelity institutional. That is where the institutional clients hold their assets. You can get that same storage for free. All you got to do is open an account, which is free as well. What are you doing? If you're looking to hold assets long term and you don't want to worry about your seed phrases being hacked, connecting your wallet to the wrong website or platform or getting spoofed, there you go. This is the answer. I'm telling you, this is the answer, folks. Go take a look into it. Which brings us over to this. Your AI economy on the XRP ledger, it's on the rise. We just covered this last week, and when we broke 1 million transactions already settled on the ledger, it's already up. It's almost at 1.5 million already. Look at this. XRP settled over 4,464 XRP settled. It's roughly up about 200%. RLUSD settled almost 2,000 in RLUSD. And your transactions, They're up 127%, 1,435,962. I mean, a growth like this, next thing you're going to know, we're at 510. It's going to be insane. And this is all the AI, the systems running together, right? Just doing their payments and transacting, no human interaction needed here. And it's doing it on the XRP ledger. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's only 4,000 XRP settled. That's not a lot. You're correct. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you on that because nothing to argue about. You're correct. But as this scales and more companies seeing that this works, that number starts to grow. It's almost like when you set up your retirement account, right? First couple of years, it's painfully slow. You got like 200 bucks, you earn 300 bucks. Then you hit $10,000, right? Next thing you know, you earned $1,000. You hit 100K, next thing you know, it's growing by 10,000 every year. You hit $1 million bucks, next thing you know, it's growing by 100,000 every year. Are you kidding me? That's how fast these things start to snowball, which brings us over to the derivatives market. And we'll cover more of this on the next video or the other video after that, because derivatives, this is the game changer. Now, I want you to think about all these major integrations that Ripple is working with, sitting on, and they're not just sitting there because they want a participation trophy. Ripple is past that point. Maybe back in 2013, they're like, yeah, let us in on the meeting. We want to see what's going on. They're past that point, right? They don't care about participation trophies. Derivatives, folks. Swift, DTCC, the repo markets. We're talking trillion-dollar markets here. And everyone thinks that we need to own the market. We don't need to own anything. We just need to get like anywhere between 1% and 5% of each of those markets, and the freaking thing is going to shoot through the roof. It's that simple. Listen to this.
If you're interested in blockchain and you want to make money, forget about sending money back to your uncle in France. This is where you should be thinking. This is the size of the entire economy of the world right here, GDP. This is the notional principle of all derivatives, okay? These are all forwards, futures, and options. And these are all derivatives except interest rate swaps. This right here, interest rate swaps. Biggest universe that most of you have never heard of. Millions of lawyers, millions of traders, millions of accounts. All that can be put on the blockchain, okay? And all this clearing system and settlement system, which we took, Dodd-Frank is like this thick. This much of it has to do with clearing and settling of swaps. Okay, it's a nightmare. It's a mess. And we can take this whole system and simplify it with distributed ledgers.
We can take that whole system about the clearing and settlement of swaps and do it all with DLT. If you really think that Ripple's not in this room, part of this conversation, come on, man. Why do you even hold then? Why do you even hold? That's the question. Look, I'm going to cut it right there. Check out iTrust Capital. I'm telling you right now, you want to look at it. Their holdings, it's free, man. You're getting institutional holdings. And check out my new channel, Rip Talk Money, because Rip, he talks money. Hit that like and subscribe. I'll see all y'all on the next one.